Hello guys, welcome to this part of our text function class. In today's text function class, we want to look at working with the mid function. In one of our previous class, we looked at working with left and then we look at working with right. Then today we want to look at working with the mid function. But before we go into the mid function, let's just briefly review some of those things we've done before. When you talk about the left function, it means you are talking about working with trying to pick something from the left hand side of a cell. Let's look at a record like this. We have this particular name. We want to pick only the name of the city. When we want to pick only the name of the city, we can use the left function to pick only the name of the city. So what we can do is we can get the number of characters we want to pick. In this case, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. In this case, we have 11 characters we want to pick. So all you need to do is equal left, open bracket, the cell we want to pick from, that is cell B2. So B2, then comma, the number of characters we want to pick. The number of characters we want to pick in this case is 11 characters. This is what we have just done here. What we have just done here in this formula, in this function, is telling Excel to go to the left hand side of cell B2 and pick the first 11 characters for us. So when you do that, that will give you the name of this particular city. So we can use our autofill, but take note, when you are working with left or right function, this is a constant. You have a constant in the formula, and the constant we have in the formula is 11. So if you use your autofill, this is not going to work for the other names if the other names are more than 11 characters. So all you need to understand is that you need to get a formula to get rid of this particular constant. So in that case, you are now going to make use of some other function, a Excel function. So like I told us in one of our class, that some of the text function we are talking about, standing alone, make little or no meaning. But by the time we try to combine them, then you will see that they are working out for us very well. So standing alone make little or no meaning. So but then now let's try to look at the what we can do if we have a case like this. If we have a case like this, all you need to understand is try to look for a criteria, something common that you can use. All you need to do is just think out of the box and look for something common that you can use. If you look at this very case here, we have a dash in front of this one, we have a dash in front of this, we have a dash in front of this, we have a dash in front of this. So all we can do, we can as well look for the position of this dash. And how do we look for the position of the dash? If you have been following my class before, you understand that we can use the find. So what are we looking for? Put what you are looking for, put it in quote, double quote. We are looking for the dash inside that particular cell. So we are looking for the dash inside what cell? Cell B2. So that is all you need to do to get the position of the dash. So what we are telling Excel, simply telling Excel in this particular formula is, go to cell B2, find the position where the first dash is occupying. So when you do that, you will find out that the position is going to be around 12. So when you count here now, you find out that this dash is in position 12. That is in cell B2. Then if you drag it down, you find out that the dash is in different position. So automatically, we are trying to get the position where the dash is in the whole of this. So when you drag it down, let's just drag it down and see. This is the position of dash. But the position we are looking for right now to work with our left formula is not the position of the dash. Is one space backward. Is one space before the dash. One space before the dash. That is the position we are trying to get. So if you use this as it is like this, if you use this to substitute the 11, you are going to have comma attached to the text you are trying to cut. So to get rid of this, all you need to do is the same thing, but then let's just add a little thing here. All we need to do is to use our equal find, open bracket, the same thing we are looking for, put it in quote. That is, we are looking for the position of dash inside the cell B2. Now, when we close our bracket, instead of leaving it like this, we are now going to tell Excel to shift the cursor one space backward after getting the position of the dash. So to do that, we can use our -1. So this is what we are going to use, which is simply going to tell Excel, okay, look for the position of dash. When you get the position of dash, shift the cursor one space backward, and that is the position I'm looking for. So I'll press my enter key, and that will give me 11, which is the same 11 which we use in this particular formula. So all we need to do now is we are now going to substitute this 11 with the formula we have gotten here. So that is what we are going to do. So to do that, let me just copy this formula. I want to copy this formula from this find. This is the formula I need to substitute that 11. So all I need to do, I can just simply copy this formula. When I copy this formula, press your escape key when you copy something like this. Press your escape key. Now I'm coming over here. I've copied it to my clipboard. So all I need to do is the same formula we used before here, which is equal left, open bracket. The text we want to convert to left is the text we have inside cell B2. So the text we use is the text we have in cell B2, comma. Then this is supposed to be followed by the number of characters. And since we say we don't know the number of characters, we are going to generate the number of characters dynamically. This function has helped us to generate the number of characters. And what I've done is that I've copied this function into my clipboard. So all I need to do is use my Ctrl V to paste that formula. And I can close the bracket. Now the whole of this from here to here is now going to give us the number of characters that we want. For you to have, in my work, I like putting this in quote so that it will make my formula to be more readable. Because if you work on certain sheet like this, you may not be there. Maybe tomorrow you may not be there and another person is trying to work on that, edit that particular work. If you leave your work very clumsy it will be difficult for the person to read, but as it is now, it is easier to read this kind of work. So what we need to do now is, here we've just told Excel, go to the left hand side of cell B2 and pick this number of characters which are inside this particular bracket for us. We'll press our enter key, that will give us this. So let's try that and see. Okay, that will work for the rest of them. I hope this is very clear. Just a recap. What we have done is this. This is the formula that we have just used. Let me just display the formula for us. I want to copy this, Ctrl C. When you copy something from the formula bar like that and you want to use it elsewhere, just press your escape key after copying it. So I want to paste this here as text. So now look at the formula. This is the formula we have just used. Equal left B3. Now it's going to change because we have the record in different cells. So the one we copy was the one in B3. So now this is the formula we have just used to get that done. I hope that is clear. Now the next thing we want to look at is, we want to look at a situation where we have been asked to pick the state code. Now, if we have been asked to pick the state code, if you look at the state code, we cannot use left, we cannot use right. The state code is in the middle. So we are now going to use an Excel text function that is called mid. We are going to use an Excel text function that is called mid. So when you want to use mid, the formula to use mid is equal mid, open bracket. Now look at the formula very well. Equal mid, open bracket, the text you want to pick from. And the text we want to pick from in this context is this particular cell B2. And then that is supposed to be followed by the number where you want to start picking from. That is the position where you want to start picking from, and then it's followed by the number of characters that you want to pick. So in this context, we want to pick from cell B2. That is the cell we want to pick from. Now Excel is asking us, okay, we want to pick from cell B2, but from what position do we want to start picking from? Now what I want you to understand is that in Excel, when you talk about the mid, Excel regard from O here down to I here as the middle. From the second character down to second to the last character, Excel regard that as the middle of the text. So the middle of the text is not a particular point where we point here, or any. The middle of the text is from this point down to I. From O down to I, that is where Excel regard as the middle. So Excel is asking you now, tell me the exact position where you want me to pick from. So the exact position where we want to pick from is the position where this dash is. So that is the position. If you remember our first formula, that is the 12th position, position 12. So from position 12, and how many characters do we want to pick? We want to pick just 2 characters. So we close our bracket and then you press your enter key. Now, okay, look at this. The position 12 is this particular dash. So the position we should be talking about is the 13th position. The 13th position. So position 13. And that will give us this. So, but the question now is, if we drag this down, is it going to give us exactly what we want? No. This is not going to give us exactly what we want. So all we need to do is we have to do something here. The challenge we have here is that 2 is going to be a constant because all the state code are 2 characters. So we don't have challenge with the 2 in our formula. All the state code are 2 characters. But the challenge we have is the position where we want to start picking from. So the position where we want to start picking from is the position 1 space ahead of our dash. 1 space ahead of our dash. So the same thing we did in our previous function. The same thing we did in our previous function. If you look at our previous function, we use this formula from here to this point to get the position of our dash, but we shifted the position of our dash 1 space backward. So I want to copy the same formula. I just use Ctrl C to copy that and then escape. So we are now going to use the same formula to substitute whatever we have here. That is the 13. So what we are going to do now is, let's try that now and see. Equal, remember the formula, equal mid, open bracket, the text we want to pick from, that is the text in cell B2, comma, then this is supposed to be followed by the position where we want to pick from, and followed also by the number of characters we want to pick. And we have copied a formula that we want to use for the position, and this is the formula. But in this context, we are not shifting the cursor 1 space backward. We are getting the position of the dash, and then we want to shift the cursor 1 space forward. Shift the cursor 1 space forward. Then this very formula now is going to give us our start number. That is the position where we want to start picking from. And then that will be followed by a comma. And the next thing we have is the number of characters. And in this case, we are picking just 2 characters, which is constant in the entire work we are doing. So we use 2 here, and then you can close the bracket. So look at this now. We say go to the middle of cell B2, go to this particular position, that is using this formula now, using this formula to get the position we want to pick from. Whatever is inside this bracket is going to generate a number, and that number is going to tell us this is the position where we want you to start picking from, and then followed by the number of characters we want to pick, and the number of characters we want to pick is 2. So when you press your enter key, this will give us NV. But let's try and see if that is going to work out for the rest. Wow, it worked exactly as we want. So this is one of the ways we can use the mid function. The mid function can be very helpful when you are trying to clean up data, especially as a data analyst. You will come across work like this where your record, the data you collect from different sources are very dirty, and you need a lot of things. You need a lot of ideas to clean up your data. So this is how we can work with the mid function. Then after talking about the mid function, the next thing we want to look at is working with the right function. Now we want to use the right function to pick our country. If you look at the country is at the right hand side, and the name of the country, before the name of the country we have a unique thing here, and that is a dash. We have a unique thing there, and that is what? The dash. And what is the formula for the right? The right is equal right, open bracket, the text we want to pick from, that is cell, or in this case cell B2, comma, and that is supposed to be followed by the number of characters we want to pick. Now in this case, let's say we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say we want to pick 10 characters here. Close our bracket, press our enter key, and that gives us exactly what we want. But then if we use our autofill to drag down, we are not going to get the same thing because of the constant that is here, 10. So can you think of a formula? Can you think of what will help us to get this result? Can you think of anything that will help us to get this result? I know you will be looking at, okay, let's look for, what if we look for the position of this, that is the forward slash. But then the right function is not going to work easily like that. It's not going to work easily like that. I know that is what in most of my classes, that is always the suggestion the student will suggest. So okay, let's look for the position of this, and then we pick from there. No, it's not going to work out like that, because what we want to pick is this number of characters from the right hand side. We are looking for this number of characters from the right hand side, and for this we are looking for the number of characters from the right hand side. So what we are going to use is, let me introduce something else. Let's think out of the box so that we can get something, we can get a formula that will help us to do this. What, like I told us, there are many ways of getting things like this done in Microsoft Excel. If I'm going to do this and I'm going to use formula to get this done, what I will use is, I will first of all use my len function. I'll use my len function. And what do I want to use len function to do? I want to use len function to find the number of characters that are in this particular column, in this particular cell. And to do that is equal len, open bracket, the text where we want to pick from, we want to find the length, and that is the text I have inside cell B2. I close my bracket, press my enter key, and it tells me that I have a total of 25 characters inside this particular cell. So if I have a number, a total of 25 characters inside this particular cell, now the next thing I'm looking for is, if I have this inside this particular cell, if I have a total of 25 characters inside this particular cell, I'm going to find the position of this particular forward slash. So to do that is equal find. So I'm using another formula called find. If you have been following me in the class, you will know we've used find severally. So put what you want to look for, put it in double quotes, and what cell are we looking at? What cell do we want to find that? We want to find that inside cell B2, close bracket, and press my enter key. So it tells me that I have this inside the, in the position 15. I have this as the total number of characters in this very cell, and I have the position of dash inside this particular cell at position 15. So if I remove from this forward slash, if I find the length of what is in this very cell and I remove everything from the forward slash, whatever is left is the number of characters that I'm looking for. Whatever is left is the number of characters that I'm looking for. So if I do this now, equal, this is the length minus this position, and that will give me what? 10. And that is going to be the same thing for the rest. And that is going to be the same thing for the rest. So if you look at what we have here, let me reduce this a little bit. Reduce this, or reduce this. Okay, so if you look at what we have here now, we try to look for the length of what we have here, and then we try to look for the position of the forward slash. And when what we are trying to do now is check the length of what we have here, check the position of the forward slash, and remove everything from the forward slash from our formula. So whatever we have left after the forward slash is exactly the number of characters that we want to pick. So if we use that now here, there are two ways we can do that. I can simply say this, I can simply use this particular column here, this cell here, to substitute my position 10. I mean the number of characters that I want to pick. So if I say number of characters that I want to pick, if I say go to G2, so what Excel will do is that it will go to G2 to look for the number of characters that I want to pick. So if I do that now, I will have this. And if I use my autofill, that will work out for the rest for me. This will work out for the rest for me. So this is a way we can do that. But another way we can do that is to combine everything in a formula. If you use this, take note, if anything happen with these particular columns, it will affect your formula here. If anything happen with these particular columns that you use to get this formula, it is going to definitely affect your formula here. If any of this column is deleted, it's going to affect your formula here. But all I try to get clear to us is, let's understand that we are going to use this particular function, which is finding the length of what we have in cell B2, and we are going to put that in bracket, and then we'll put this also, finding the position of the forward slash, we'll put it in bracket, and then we'll put a minus in between the two in our formula, and then we'll use our right function. So let's do that and see. Let's do that and see. The formula is a little bit long, so that is why I'm taking my time to break it down, so that when you see a lengthy formula like this, you will not be confused. The formula is a little bit long. So what I've just tried to do now is try my best to see how I can break it down to the simplest method that you can use to understand it. So I want to pick this particular one. I'll copy this. I just want to copy this. Press your escape key. So this is our formula. Equal right. Remember, we are using the right function. Equal right, open bracket. Then this is going to be followed by where we want to pick the text from. That is B2, comma, and that is supposed to be followed by the number of characters we want to pick. But in this case, we don't know the number of characters we want to pick. So I'm going to use this and put the number of characters that we want to pick inside this particular cell, inside this particular bracket. So to get the number of characters we want to pick, we say we are combining two different functions to get that done. So the first function we want to use is the len function, which is len. We want to find the length of what we have in cell B2. We want to find the length of what we have in cell B2. When we get the length of what we have in cell B2, we want to minus that with, we are minusing that with the position of a forward slash. So this is what we are trying to do here. We are now looking for the length. We are now looking for the length of what we have in cell B2. When we get the length of what we have in cell B2, we'll minus the position of the forward slash, and whatever we have left is the number of characters that we are looking for. So close your bracket and press your enter key, and that does it for us. I hope this is clear. I did not want to come straight to this very one because I know it's a little bit long and it sounds somehow confusing if you don't get the basics. So this is how we can get this done. All you can see here now is we are trying to combine different formula to get a particular problem solved. And that is what you can do in Excel. So in this case now, if anybody deletes this column, it's not going to affect our formula. But if we try to use this, is another method you can use. But if you use this, when anything happens to any of this column, it's going to affect your formula. Thank you very much. If you are able to learn anything from this video, just hit the like button, subscribe, and then hit the notification button for more classes to come. Thank you.